Shalom. Today I want to talk with you about the 7 universal laws of Noah, also known in Judaism as the 7 Noahide laws. Everyone knows about the covenant that was given to Israel at Mount Sinai, when God gave the 613 commandments. Israel came from the seed of Abraham, the first Hebrew. Through these laws, the people of Israel have lived and followed God throughout the generations until the coming of Jesus. However, there is believed to have been a very ancient covenant that traces back even further than Abraham. There is a very old covenant that is believed to be traced back to Noah, which involves 7 universal laws for all of mankind. And so it wouldn't matter where you were, where you came from, who you are, what family you're from. If you are a descendant of Noah, like we all are, then these laws would apply to you. It applies to everyone. And anyone who is a descendant of Noah were commissioned to follow these 7 laws as part of their relationship with God. Now, whether they have chosen to follow these laws or not are a totally different story. It is very interesting to me because it testifies to me that if such a covenant ever existed, it shows me again that in every point of human history, God has always been interested in relationship with his creation. A huge part of the reason I want to talk about this particular topic is because Jesus said to make disciples of all nations. This includes and began with the Jews, and today Noahides are considered a daughter religion of Judaism, if you wish to use such a term. Although Jews do not consider Noahides to be Jewish, they do take Noahides under their wing. To them, Noahides are considered righteous Gentiles. Therefore, they need to hear the gospel as well, and we need to witness to them. So now, I want to share with you what these 7 universal laws of Noah are. A lot of them may sound familiar to you. The 7 laws of Noah, or the Noahide laws, are: do not commit idolatry, do not commit blasphemy, do not murder, do not steal, do not commit sexual immorality, don't rip off a limb from a living animal and eat it, and establish courts of justice. Very fascinating to me. And now I want to make it clear that this is not explicitly said in the Torah. It's not. However, it seems that the Talmud suggests there is a passage in Genesis which alludes to this idea, which leads me to my next point that I want to make, and that is, this is simply a rabbinical tradition. The Noahide movement is a rabbinical tradition that is believed by people in Judaism, or at least certain parts of Judaism this is believed. Some people have other beliefs when it comes to this topic. However, we're not here to talk about that right now. I just mentioned that in passing. But it is an interesting topic, and it might be possible, but Scripture does not explicitly say this. I want to make that point because it is very important that we back up everything we believe according to Scripture. Even if these specific Noahide laws are not mentioned in Genesis, it is possible that there could have been some form of moral code that existed during the times of Noah and his sons. This is because they still needed to establish some kind of order as to how they were going to live their lives. It could even show that before the 613 commandments that were given on Mount Sinai, the righteous men of old still could have had a portion of the Sinai revelation given to them before it came in its fullness to the Hebrews. And so, it is traditionally believed that the Noahide laws, or the 7 universal laws, started with Adam and then was passed down through the generations of Seth. We Adam, Seth, Enoch, Methuselah, Noah, etc., until it got to Abraham. And so it is believed that this was an ancient moral code of the day. So let's turn to the biblical passage in Genesis chapter 9, verse 1 to 10. Genesis chapter 9, verses 1 to 10. The text says, "So God blessed Noah and his sons, and said to them, Be fruitful and multiply, and fill the earth. And the fear of you and the dread of you shall be on every beast of the earth, on every bird of the air, on all that move on the earth, and on all the fish of the sea. They are given into your hand. Every moving thing that lives shall be food for you. I have given you all things, even as the green herbs. But you shall not eat flesh with its life, that is, its blood. Surely, for your lifeblood I will demand a reckoning. From the hand of every beast I will require it, and from the hand of man. From the hand of every man's brothers I will require the life of man. Whoever sheds man's blood, by man his blood shall be shed. For in the image of God he made man. And as for you, be fruitful and multiply. Bring forth abundantly in the earth, and multiply in it. Then God spoke to Noah and to his sons with him, saying, And as for me, behold, I establish my covenant with you, and with your descendants after you, and with every living creature that it is with you. The birds, the cattle, and every beast of the earth with you, of all that go out of the ark, every beast of the earth." And so as you could see here, God is interested in all mankind. And theologically, this is considered by many to be a second creation establishment, where God was starting over again with creation through Noah, and he was allowing for mankind to begin a process of redemption from the intense wickedness of the generations before. And so, as you read through this passage in Genesis, you can see where the possibilities of this concept of the Noahide comes from. It was always God's intention for mankind to walk in his ways, which has happened all throughout history. While these laws are great, it is missing something very important. And this is where a lot of people are going to get mad at me. And by a lot of people, I'm talking about Jews and Noahides. And you know what? I wasn't even going to throw this in there, but I think I should, for all of those who are Jewish or Noahides, if they ever try to challenge me on this, saying, well, who does this man think he is, talking about our religions and our beliefs? Who is he? Well, I just want to tell you, I'm actually Jewish. My mother is Jewish. So, I have a right to speak on this. But even if I wasn't Jewish, I'm still a scholar. I am a scholar. I have the credentials. I'm not going to pull them up right now. But I'm saying that to say, we should be able to wrestle with certain ideas and things, and wrestle with the text, especially if we're scholarly, because that is the whole point of being a scholar in the first place, is to critically think, wrestle, change, adapt, of course, as long as it's not disrupting anything with dogma or foundational doctrine that is biblically essential. As long as it's not doing that, we should be able to wrestle with things a little bit, and we should be able to discuss and debate, agree, disagree, etc. So there's room for discussion. And so let's continue. If such laws existed back then, Noah was simply doing what all other righteous men of old were doing, foreshadowing the Mashiach, the Messiah. Noah's life, his obedience to God, was a foreshadowing of what Jesus would do in becoming the ultimate ark of safety for mankind. And just like Noah ushered his family into a new world, Jesus would then ultimately usher us into a new world where his kingdom will have no end. This is what the concept of a true Noahide is. A Noahide, a righteous Gentile, who has embraced Jesus Christ as the Messiah. But here's something that is also exciting. Not only can a generic descendant of Noah become a righteous Gentile in the flesh, but they are also grafted into the blessing of Abraham, in the process becoming spiritually a Hebrew who has been welcomed into the family of God. This is what happens because of the great adoption that God grants us through becoming born again and surrendering our life to his only begotten Son, Jesus Christ, God manifested in the flesh. This is what happens when you accept the Mashiach, the Messiah. God bless you guys.